some issues before, so really appreciate it. I'm gonna put somebody on the spot here. If I see somebody come in, I'm gonna ask you to confirm I'm not stuck in a continuous loop saying the same thing, glitching out. Disclaimer, this stream is not intended to be medical information or advice. I am talking about purely from my perspective. This is commentary from somebody who is Rh negative herself. So I wrote down notes, and then after my little glitchy session, I just misplaced my notes. Basically, Rh negative blood. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Thank you so much. Rh negative blood is something that, in general, overall, on average, 15% of the population has, but in certain regions, that is greater or lesser. And there's not a really great scientific explanation, especially considering it comes from what essentially is a broken gene. Both of your parents have to have this recessive trait in order for you to have Rh negative blood type. And if you didn't know, it's just going to have some shadows on my face. Rh negative stands for Reese's. It's antigens. There's a lot of antigens. I believe like 21 or something, or even more than that, on your red blood cells. And whether or not you have this particular antigen is is what makes you negative or positive for Rh negative. Hi Albie, how are you doing? And how are you doing, Mr. Carey? I'm sorry I didn't ask you how you're doing. I had some I don't know if you saw that, but my live wasn't working for me a second ago. That's never happened. And I'm not saying for sure it's the subject. I just can't help but notice when I put Rh negative in the title, like something like that happens for the first time. But anyways, that could just be a pure coincidence. And this is not medical information or advice. And I myself am not saying I am special in any sort of way. I am not saying I am an alien. I'm just saying I don't know for sure. There is not really a good scientific explanation for why, in general, on average, the world's population is 15% Rh negative, 85% Rh positive, and in certain regions, those numbers are drastically different. And this can point to, like, you didn't get to see any of it. Okay, Mr. Carey. Like, I listened to a good video earlier today saying that Australian Aboriginals show how, since they didn't intermingle with any of the Neanderthals from the European region, it is probably older than what we think. Like for a while, scientists thought that people with blue eyes just came onto the scene really like a few thousand, 10,000 years ago. But we're finding out more and more that that is not true. Blue and green eyes are associated with Rh negative. If you do not know that, no, that does not mean you definitely have it but it is like a higher chance. And hi, Alman, how are you doing? And hi, Nanu. And hi, Akhenaten. I'm sorry. Akhenaten. Thank you for saying good vibes. That's really sweet. I like to think so too. And everybody is Leroy. White Europeans are the best, Leroy said. Well, I think that everybody is here and we're all connected. We're all supposed to appreciate the differences in each other. And we all came from brown people in the cradle of civilization. I think it's kind of ironic to say, white people are the best, and we literally all came from brown people. But anyways, hi, Dory. Thank you, Dory. I'm actually kind of upset with myself. I set down my notes somewhere and I couldn't find them, but I think I can remember the few notes that I wrote. And now that I have more people in here, this is not scientific information or advice. This is just commentary from somebody who is Rh negative herself. Most of us don't really find out much about it. Thank you, Akhenaten. I really like that. It's like a $8, $9 tapestry I got from Amazon. Bonjour, troll. Leroy, okay. Maro, hello. Maro, I think I said that right. Rainbows are often seen as a sign of hope and promise of better times to come, especially after difficult periods like storms or adversity. Yes, that is true. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I really want to start talking more about how we all need to have a victory garden, whether or not you garden. We can have some sort of method of being as self-sustainable as possible, putting less dollars in the oligarchs' pockets that are literally ruining our world. So Rh negative is usually something people don't find out they are until they are pregnant, and that was my experience as well. You just don't talk about blood types. And it is exceedingly difficult to find out what your blood type is, even though it's so important, and especially in emergency situations. Try to ask your doctor, ask for what your blood type is. See how difficult it is. Try to find out your kid's blood type. Why don't they want us to know our blood types? I think there's a reason for that, allegedly, supposedly. I think there's a reason they try to keep our blood types from us. I don't know why that reason is, but I think there's something they know that we don't know, basically. And, like, A negative now I am all over the place, not in the time order I wanna be with my notes. A negative is associated with autism sometimes. I'm not saying all people with autism have A negative blood, but I am saying that I have experienced this personally in my own life. Me and a group of autism moms, 5 other moms sitting around a table, and we all realized that all of our kids diagnosed with autism had A negative blood. What are the odds of that? Now, this is all my experience. I am not giving any medical advice. I am not saying because you are A negative, you will have an autistic child too. I am not saying any, please don't jump to any conclusions. I'm just telling stories here. And the longer I live, the more interesting I think this whole Rh negative factor is. So, I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments, you guys. I really need to stay on track. And then I'd love to go live again tonight, maybe do a more chatty live. Leroyd is 100% white. Well, good for you, Leroyd. I mean, if that's your goal in life is to prove how white you are, I'm glad for you. Anyone can request their blood type at any time. Okay, Aura, that's what I'm saying. My kids had blood work. I asked their pediatrician what their blood types were, and they told me that I had to go to the hospitals they were born at. Like, why doesn't their pediatrician have their blood type? Or why wouldn't they give that to me? That was my experience with it. And it was the same thing with my own blood type. Like, when I asked after getting blood work what my blood type was, they wouldn't tell me. Why is that? But as soon as it's they're obviously not trying that hard to they sell Aldon cards on the internet. That's how I typed my husband. And we joke around like his mom definitely had negative blood, and she has a negative blood type, so we call him a hybrid. So if you know that your parent has Rh negative, you might have some of the same traits. And like I put in the title, do you feel like you don't belong? Like that's one thing that a lot of people with Rh negative blood, and I can't stress this enough, you guys, we're just talking here. I do not think I'm an alien. I do not think I'm special because of this. It's interesting that science can't seem to explain why, in general, 15% of the world's population has Rh negative blood types. But in certain regions, that is like drastically different. Like there's a region, the Basque region around Spain and France, like where there's like so much more Rh negative blood types. I believe like 35% of the population there has it compared to 15%. And then populations like the Australian Aboriginals prove that it probably is linked somehow to European Neanderthals because they were never intermingled with them and they have almost zero Rh negative blood types in their people. So some people speculate, once again, this is like just a conspiracy theory, that Jesus might have been the first Rh negative person on this earth, and that would kind of explain a lot if you believe the story about Mary becoming pregnant. And scientists thought recently, until recently, blue-eyed people just like weren't a thing until 2 to 10,000 years ago. But now they're finding out that that's probably not true, and there probably have been blue-eyed people longer. There was a mummy or something they pulled DNA from, it's like 40, 50,000 years old that had blue eyes. So you really don't know what to believe. And like when it comes to things like carbon dating, like I don't believe anything 100%. And I'm not saying I know any better than any of the scientists that went to school and study these things. I'm just saying it's like a man that said, "This is how we date things. This is carbon dating. This is how you believe that this is true. This means this date." Like, I just don't necessarily buy that 100%. In a perfect world, we could trust academia, but I don't trust the men of academia. They're just like all other men in any other industry in the world. It's like they're always trying to one up each other and be the biggest and the best in the room. In many traditions, water is associated with purification and cleansing. Waterfalls with their powerful flow can symbolize a washing away of negative and a fresh start. Yes, Akinat, and I really like your symbolism interpretations. Hi, Avocado Ranch. How are you doing? This channel is about all sorts of stuff. Avocado Ranch, I know I say Kentucky Homestead in the name. I had a surgery at the end of April, so my garden is not doing that great. But we do usually have a big garden, and we have chickens, and our goal is to be off-grid and more self-sustainable in the years to come. But for now, I talk a lot about cultural, social issues and commentary. I gained a lot of subscribers talking about one YouTuber in particular, but I don't want to just make reaction videos about YouTubers. I'd more so like to talk about subjects. Dory said, "My gynecologist did give me my blood type when I had my first baby. I'm just plain old type O positive." Yes, that's usually when we really find them out is the pregnancies. Where am I? I'm in, Kentucky. I'm from here and I live here, but I have not lived here my whole life. Frankie is B positive and not A negative. Um, good vibes, positive. Oh, thank you, Marcel. Thanks for acknowledging that I have a natural face. Yes. Um, Gosh, should I donate blood and how often? That's completely up to you. I think that that's a great thing when people choose to do it. Personally, as somebody who has had persistent HPV, both high risk types, and like that's another thing doctors can't explain to me. I don't feel comfortable donating my own blood because I have a lot of things going on. But if you are a healthy person and you want to and you are eligible, I think that that's a great thing. Okay, I already read that. I can still keep my card in my wallet, which you gave me at the time. Oh, wow, Dory. Yeah, the first pregnancy, they gave me one of those cards too, but not with the subsequent 2. Mr. Carey said he used to live in Florida. That's cool, Mr. Carey. I don't rem I think I remember that about you. I have to be told the same things like 3 to 5 times as part of my heavy metal. I just I don't have a good short-term memory. It's supposedly tied to the Nephilim or something like that, what Nick said. Yes, that's what I was saying, like, I'm not saying for sure that it is associated with aliens or something otherworldly, but I just don't know for sure, so I'm not trying to come off like this is where it comes from, but there's many different explanations, and nobody knows for sure, nobody can explain it. How a recessive genetic trait, it's basically like a broken gene is what somebody said. It both parents have to have this recessive trait. So the fact that it's still in our population as much as it is kind of odd. But I am not like a super scientifically minded person, so I'm not trying to come off to be that way, people. I really don't know. Cheech, thank you so much. That's so sweet. There's so much we haven't been told. Yes, what next? And I think that they know our blood types. Like, I think the most elite, like their doctors, their medical care professionals, they know certain things they're never going to let on for the rest of the world because they only benefit from us being sick, right? And they know like your blood type might, and this is not, I'm not saying I know, I can't stress that enough because I don't want people to think that I'm a know it all, but like I think it might be what would tell you what you should eat, like what kind of diet you should have, and all sorts of important things. I'm AB negative, so I am a small percentage. Cool pork milk. JMO, the world would be a lot better off if women like you trusted men. Oh, JMO, I trust men. I've been married for 15 years, and it's because of my husband and the way that we've lived life together is why I hold all of you to a higher standard, because I know that I don't mean to say you like pointing the finger at you. I mean, you as in the general population of men can do better than, trying to say things like we shouldn't be able to vote. I really don't want any man to think, and I have enough male viewers. I think I have made it clear, like, I do not hate all men. The whole point is bringing up how misogyny is deep rooted in everything. It really sincerely is. And if anybody thinks that this world is easier for women just because, pretty privilege exists, then th- I don't know if I can explain to them and try to get them to really understand that's we're all people and it's hard to survive. Like surviving is hard. Even when I say things like we live like kings nowadays, like we do have conveniences. We are like, we're better off in a lot of ways. But Yoder, I missed your first comment, I think, because I just saw was still waiting. What was the first thing you said? Yoder, was it to me? I just want to make sure I didn't. Mr. Carey didn't tell me nothing was playing. Oh, you were waiting at the other live? I'm sorry, I thought that that would just go private like all of them do, and it was so weird. I accidentally pressed the button to, like, collab with somebody, so I guess I can do that because I didn't realize it was a thing until I accidentally pressed it, and I was like, "You can't go live until the other person joins you," and I was like, "Oh, shoot, okay, so now I know how to send a link to somebody." So I think that would be a fun thing to do, and, I wouldn't wanna just, like, trust any random person because it could be, a troll or whatever, but email me if you think you might wanna go live with me. Tim, I hope you're doing better. I think you were in here last night, right? Rando blood types and different subjects that come along during live, Mr. Carey said. Thank you, Mr. Carey. It is annoying when people talk for you, they add words to your mouth that have not been said. Well, yeah, that can happen. Oh, yeah, mansplain it to us. Thanks, William. You won't survive. Okay, Mr. Carey, yeah, we were on the waiting live and then another notification popped up. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Now I feel like I need to hop off of here and, like, make sure that's taken down. Ara said in academic research on autism, men have traditionally been overrepresented both researchers and research subjects. However, female researchers are increasingly prominent, especially in psychology. Yes, that's good. I think that's a good thing. Like I was saying last night, and I didn't do a great job, like, saying the end of what I was saying, where it's like, yes, a lot of women can be over emotionally reactive. They cling to their emotions. They feel them like too much for too long, basically. I don't know how else to say it, but like once you are an adult and you learn to process, you will like feel those, process, and move on. And that's what I feel like, like most grown people learn in their lives to do. Like, of course, women can be more emotional, but having a range of emotions, being able to express them only shows more intelligence. So to have women in that kind of field with, mental health, just it makes sense. I think mansplaining is a loaded word. I've had all genders overly explained to me before, Riendo. Yes, it stems from that feeling you get, like, as a woman, I have experienced it, but I will say that I don't think it's something every man does or, like, it's something that is a problem, like some women say. You know what I'm saying? I have definitely had this feeling where it's like, "Oh, you think I'm like the dumb girl that doesn't know, and you're, like, telling me about it." But it's not coming from a I think that, like, that person probably, isn't coming from a horribly intentioned place. Uh, okay, Leroyd. Well, I don't know exactly what your interests are, what you want to talk about, but if you don't mind, you can comment on a video of mine or email me. I was here last night and I don't know what to do with my boring life, Tim said. Well, hobbies are important. I think it's so important for everybody to have hobbies. And like a lot of us are just like in this hustle culture where it's like work, sleep, eat, and that's it. That's all we do. But it's really important to have things that you do that make you feel good. Play an instrument. If you ever played an instrument before, pick it back up or learn how to play another instrument. I'm trying to get into stained glass art right now. And I'm always into some craft. And it really is part of why we're here on this earth to express ourselves, and lack of expression is depression. So, okay, bye, William. Thomas, somebody asked me that last night. No, I'm not. I don't really care if anybody asks me anything about my heritage. I just wonder if people are like, "Oh, she has a big news, a big nose." Is she? I'm going to ask her this. I'm going to get up for just a second and look for my notes and make sure I didn't miss anything because oh, Thomas. See, I've never had anybody say that before. I'm in my late 30s. Okay, I found them. Okay, yeah, I didn't. Okay. Blood types are A, B, O, and whether or not you're positive or negative. I already said most of this. And people are known to be like sensitive and empathic. I think we all have the ability to be empathic, but like a real empath is somebody that feels emotions so strongly they take them on. And like if somebody's sad, they will want to cry themselves. And I have always felt that I'm like too sensitive in that way. And whenever my sons were diagnosed, I remember my mother-in-law gave me this book about crystal babies, and it wasn't necessarily just Rh negative blood types, but just talking about like how some of us are different, and it's like hardwired into us. It's in our genes, it's in our DNA. Like it makes very little sense to me that we are the only species. I think we're the only species that we know of where we have to take special care during pregnancy to make sure that if we do happen to mate with somebody of this different blood type, my body doesn't attack that baby. Like this is only it's a very weird thing the more you learn about it, in my opinion, allegedly. And it seems like it was done on purpose, in my opinion. I think it might be. But the Crystal Baby was just a book that my mother-in-law gave me, basically saying like there are people who are different and they're born different. And you could tell from before they're 1 year old that they're different. And I'm not just talking about like autism spectrum. I'm not just talking about RH negative. I'm talking about just like being different and being okay with people who are a little different. We're all trying so hard to be a part of the in group. And that's where so many of our mental problems come from. People could just be nicer to each other. Like, the internet is a good example of this. Paul Bunyan, I really don't give a fuck what you do with my fucking face, okay? And anybody who gets on here and says things like that and thinks they're intimidating me, you're just giving me engagement for my channel. I'm using you is what is really going on. And I think it's really funny that anybody thinks they can get under my skin. I've been through so much in my 38 years of life. Nobody could say anything. Oh, you're gonna put my face on some naked body and go jack off to it. You only make yourself look like a raging moron, okay? Like, I think this is done, and, I hope that everybody has a great night. No, Mr. Carey, it was not your fault at all. It's just, like, I'm so sick of the and it's always a man. Once again, like, not always a man, but always a man. It's always a man. Like, you need to get a life, and you think that, like, you're getting a rise out of me or something. No, like, you sincerely need to get a life. My husband has never and will never get on some random woman's live stream and do something to take her down because he's a real man. He's a father, he's a husband. He's outside chopping wood right now. I'm not just saying that. He is chopping wood. That's what you should be doing. Anyways, I hope everybody has a great night. I'm sorry for cursing, but like the trolls don't get to me because like that's the way I process it. I'm gonna process it by telling you to F off every once in a while. And if they had women in their lives, they wouldn't harass so many online. Exactly, Rando. That's what I'm saying. Like real men who have like a wife, like they're not online raging and going back and forth with women. And I was kind of saying this about some other people, like Aaron Atz, like men that go back and forth with people online, like gossiping and stuff. Like, talk about like different people, can't relate. So I'm getting off of here now, but it's early enough in the night. I hope I see you all later. We might have a little bit of a chattier live. And oh, Steven, I think I will be on later. And her wife is a victim. What are you talking about? Get it? Okay. Love you all. Take care of yourselves. Sorry for getting kind of spicy. Bye.